The world is shifting beneath our feet, a constant dance of alliances and realignments. And in this intricate global ballet, Vietnam has just made a move that's turning heads everywhere, prompting discussions in capitals around the world. It's officially joining the BRICS bloc, a significant step onto the world stage. This isn't just another diplomatic handshake or a routine agreement, it signifies something far more profound. Vietnam is strategically signaling its intent to play a bigger, more influential role in global affairs, stepping out with purpose and calculated intent. For decades, Vietnam has skillfully balanced relations with global superpowers, navigating complex geopolitical currents with finesse. But now, with an eye towards the future, it's actively diversifying its partnerships, seeking new economic and political opportunities in an increasingly multipolar world, a world where power is distributed across many nations. By joining a group that includes China, a major global player, Russia, a nation with a long history of international influence, and other rapidly growing emerging economies, Vietnam sees a path forward. Vietnam is betting that the potential benefits, particularly in trade and investment, will ultimately outweigh the inherent risks involved in such a significant geopolitical alignment, especially considering its crucial and carefully cultivated relationship with the U.S., a relationship that has been vital for its economic growth. This strategic decision represents a pragmatic step forward, not a definitive break from its established ties with the West. Instead, it's a calculated move to ensure that Vietnam has a seat at every important table where global decisions are being made, ensuring its voice is heard. The move inevitably raises some big and important questions that need to be addressed. How will the U.S. respond to this new development, and what impact will it have on their bilateral relations? What new doors and economic opportunities will this membership open for Vietnam's rapidly growing economy? And what potential challenges and obstacles lie ahead as Vietnam navigates this new geopolitical landscape? In this video, we'll delve into the historical context, the strategic planning behind this decision, and the potential consequences of Vietnam's bold new direction, examining its implications for the nation's future. It's a compelling story of ambition, resilience in the face of adversity, and a nation determined to proactively shape its own destiny on the global stage. To understand Vietnam's move, let's break down BRICS. Originally an economic term, BRICS is now a block of major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and more recently, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran, and Egypt. It's not a military alliance, but a coalition seeking to reform global finance and amplify non-Western voices. The new development bank offers member countries access to capital for infrastructure and development, an attractive prospect for Vietnam. BRICS members represent a huge share of the world's population and GDP, opening vast new markets for Vietnam's exports. For Vietnam, joining BRICS isn't about abandoning old partners but about adding new engines of growth. Politically, BRICS offers strategic autonomy. Vietnam can engage with China and India in a multilateral setting, gaining leverage and flexibility. It's a sophisticated diplomatic play reflecting the complex realities of Asia's geopolitics. Vietnam is not choosing sides, it's expanding its options. That's the real power of BRICS for a country like Vietnam. Vietnam's foreign policy is deeply shaped and influenced by its turbulent and often challenging history. The nation's past is a constant reminder of the importance of strategic thinking and careful navigation on the global stage. Centuries of foreign domination and devastating wars have indelibly taught the Vietnamese people the immense value of resilience, adaptability, and flexibility in the face of adversity. These qualities are not just historical footnotes. They are actively employed in Vietnam's approach to international relations. This inherent understanding and approach is the essence of what's known as bamboo diplomacy. Strong roots that are deeply embedded in national interests and cultural identity, but also the ability to bend and adapt without breaking under pressure. It's a philosophy of strength through flexibility. In practice, Vietnam strategically avoids rigid formal alliances. Instead, it focuses on building diverse and multifaceted relationships with a wide array of countries and organizations. This includes cultivating strong ties with major global powers like the US and China, as well as key regional and international bodies such as ASEAN, Japan, and the EU. This careful diversification strategy has successfully transformed Vietnam into a magnet for foreign investment from across the globe. And it has also positioned the nation as a key and increasingly important player in global supply chains, contributing significantly to international trade and economic stability. Therefore, joining BRICS is viewed as a natural and logical extension of this well-established strategy, not as a rejection of its old and trusted partners, but rather as a valuable addition to its already comprehensive diplomatic toolkit. It provides Vietnam with new and important forums to engage constructively with major players like China and India, and simultaneously opens up new and exciting economic opportunities with emerging markets such as Brazil and South Africa. The central challenge, however, lies in maintaining a delicate balance as the rivalry between the US and China continues to intensify. Ultimately, Vietnam's continued success on the global stage will depend heavily on its ability to stay flexible and adaptable, and to skillfully avoid being pulled too far in any single direction by competing interests. In essence, bamboo diplomacy is not just about survival in a challenging environment, but now, more importantly, it's about actively thriving and prospering in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. Joining BRICS is simply the latest stalk in Vietnam's ever-growing and expanding diplomatic growth, signifying its continued growth and influence on the world stage. The story of Vietnam and the United States is one of the most remarkable transformations in modern diplomatic history. From bitter enemies locked in a devastating conflict, the two nations have evolved to become close partners in just a few decades, a testament to pragmatism and evolving geopolitical realities. After the war, the path to reconciliation was slow and fraught with challenges, marked by lingering mistrust and the immense task of healing the wounds of the past. However, the winds of change began to blow with economic reforms and normalization in the 1990s, setting the stage for a new era of cooperation. These pivotal shifts opened the door to burgeoning trade, increased investment, and multifaceted cooperation across various sectors. Today, the U.S. stands as one of Vietnam's top export markets, driving economic growth and prosperity in the Southeast Asian nation. Beyond economics, the U.S. has also become a key security partner for Vietnam, especially as both nations share growing concerns about China's assertive actions in the contested South China Sea. This evolving dynamic has propelled the relationship to new heights, culminating in a comprehensive strategic partnership, solidifying ties across multiple domains. This partnership is characterized by deepening ties in trade, educational exchanges, and strengthened defense cooperation, reflecting a multifaceted and robust alliance. Vietnam deeply values this partnership with the United States, recognizing its importance for its own development and security. However, Hanoi remains keenly aware of the need to avoid overdependence on any single power, carefully calibrating its foreign policy to maintain its strategic independence. Therefore, Vietnam's potential move towards joining BRICS should not be interpreted as a rejection of its relationship with the U.S. Rather, it represents a calculated strategy to balance its portfolio of international relationships and ensure its long-term strategic autonomy in a rapidly changing world. Hanoi is determined to keep its options open, diversifying its partnerships to maximize its benefits and minimize its risks. This involves not only strengthening ties with Western countries, but also actively building new bridges to the nations of the global South, fostering a more inclusive and balanced approach to international relations. The U.S.-Vietnam relationship has proven to be remarkably resilient, weathering numerous challenges and evolving to meet the demands of a dynamic global landscape. However, this new chapter in Vietnam's foreign policy, marked by its potential BRICS membership, will undoubtedly test the strength and adaptability of this partnership. Both sides will need to adapt to a world where traditional alliances are becoming more fluid and less predictable, requiring a more nuanced and flexible approach to diplomacy. In this evolving environment, middle powers like Vietnam are increasingly charting their own course, asserting their independence and pursuing their own national interests. For Vietnam, this strategic balancing act is ultimately about securing its long-term prosperity and ensuring its national security in an increasingly complex world. It's about navigating the geopolitical landscape on its own terms, preserving its sovereignty and independence while maximizing its opportunities for growth and development. The U.S. will undoubtedly watch these developments closely, carefully assessing the implications of Vietnam's evolving foreign policy for its own strategic interests in the region. However, the underlying strength and resilience of the U.S.-Vietnam partnership suggests that it is well positioned to weather these changes and continue to thrive in the years to come. This is the new reality of global politics, a multipolar world where strategic partnerships are constantly evolving and where nations must adapt to thrive. Vietnam's BRICS move will spark concern in Washington. The US sees Vietnam as a key Indo-Pacific partner, so joining a bloc with China and Russia raises questions about Hanoi's long-term orientation. Officially, the US will stress respect for Vietnam's sovereignty and the strength of their partnership. Behind the scenes, American diplomats will seek reassurances that Vietnam isn't drifting away. The real worry: will BRICS membership mean more Chinese and Russian influence in Vietnam's military or foreign policy? Heavy-handed US reactions would backfire, so expect Washington to double down on engagement, offering economic and security incentives to keep Vietnam close. The US-Vietnam relationship will be tested, but both sides know the value of flexibility in a multipolar world. In the end, Vietnam's move is a sign of the times. Countries want choices, not ultimatums. For Vietnam, BRICS is an economic opportunity. Membership means access to huge new markets and streamlined trade with Brazil, India, and South Africa. The new development bank offers financing for infrastructure, roads, ports, renewable energy, often with fewer strings attached than Western lenders. BRICS investment, especially from Gulf states, could fuel innovation and job creation in Vietnam. Vietnam can position itself as a bridge between Western economies and the BRICS bloc, attracting new foreign investment and moving up the value chain. But there are risks. Increased competition from China and India could pressure Vietnamese industries, and over-reliance on any one market is a concern. The key will be using BRICS to strengthen, not weaken, Vietnam's domestic economy. If managed well, BRICS could help Vietnam reach its goal of becoming a high-income country by 2045. The challenge is to seize the benefits while guarding against new vulnerabilities. For Vietnam, it's a calculated economic leap. BRICS is pushing for de-dollarization, reducing reliance on the US dollar in global trade. For Vietnam, this means new opportunities and risks. BRICS aims to settle more trade in local currencies, which could lower costs and shield Vietnam from dollar fluctuations or US sanctions. The new development bank is already issuing loans in local currencies. Vietnam could benefit from financing in dong, reducing currency risk. But the dollar's dominance is deeply entrenched, and Vietnam's financial markets aren't yet as robust as those of major economies. A sudden shift away from the dollar could create instability, so Vietnam will move cautiously. Expect gradual diversification, not a dramatic break. De-dollarization is part of Vietnam's broader strategy: increase options, reduce vulnerabilities. It's about monetary sovereignty, but also about stability. For now, the dollar stays, but the door to alternatives is open. Joining BRICS is a high-stakes gamble for Vietnam, the biggest risk straining ties with the US and Western partners, who may view the move with suspicion. Vietnam must reassure them it's not turning its back, but expanding its options. Inside BRICS, Vietnam faces another challenge: navigating rivalries, especially between China and India, and avoiding entanglement in disputes that don't serve its interests. There's also reputational risk association with sanctioned states like Russia and Iran could make Western investors wary. Vietnam's economy is deeply globalized. It can't afford isolation. At home, increased competition from BRICS giants will pressure Vietnamese industries to innovate and adapt. The government must support local businesses and ensure the benefits of BRICS membership are widely shared. Success depends on diplomatic skill and economic reform. The path is risky, but the potential rewards are great. Vietnam's BRICS decision is a defining moment, a bold bet on a multipolar future. It's bamboo diplomacy in action, flexible, pragmatic, and rooted in national interest. Vietnam wants to be a friend to all, balancing its US partnership with new ties to the global South. The road ahead is tough, balancing old and new alliances, managing economic pressures, and avoiding great power traps, but the rewards are real new markets, investment, and a bigger voice in global affairs. Vietnam is betting it can thrive by staying nimble and independent. The world is watching. Can Vietnam have the best of both worlds, or will it be forced to choose? One thing's certain: Vietnam is ready to bend, not break, as it writes its next chapter on the world stage.